Welcome to Cyber Espresso podcast, your quick shot of cybersecurity insights with industry leaders. I welcome today's guest, Candy Alexander. Candy, welcome to our podcast.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Likewise. So, Candy, you have an amazing career. You spent more than 3 decades building and leading security programs, not only for small businesses, but for global enterprises as well. Does the size of an organization really matter anymore?
No, it really never did, actually. Yeah. It's the risks are the same. Users not changing their passwords, it's the same risk whether you're in a small business or a large enterprise. It just takes one way in, if you will, for the bad guys. Of course, the difference would be the amount of that effect. But I would also argue one user not changing their password as required, it's the same effect. It's pretty devastating whether you're a small company or a large company. As well as when you're building security programs, it is also the same. The scale, sure, complexity is the factor there. However, you have different complexity with a small organization.
Mhm.
So from a large organization perspective, it's the architecture that might be complex. With a small organization, it might be the people factor. You might have a more of a challenge trying to get those that support the systems to apply security controls because they're wearing multiple hats. So, you still have challenges. It's just they're different, but you still apply the same, controls, whether it's in a large organization or a small organization. The approach is still the same. It's just the challenges and how you work around those controls, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. And everybody talks about AI nowadays. We know that it's changing our lives, it's changing our kids' lives, but how is AI changing the way you work today, Candid?
Well, AI could be said that it's a love-hate relationship.
I love
So
that.
I absolutely love it when you think about the amazing accomplishment that our technologists have accomplished with developing AI. I mean,
Mhm.
artificial intelligence. It's amazing. It's fascinating. It makes my job and my work so much easier. Being an independent consultant, in sole proprietor, meaning it's just me and my little consulting business, I don't have a marketing expert. I don't have a graphic designer, but I do with the help of AI. So it's like, it is so much fun as a
Mhm.
technologist to play with that tool. But that's where it switches to almost a hate relationship because it's so incredibly powerful, and yet it can be devastating if you don't use it or
Mhm.
apply it correctly.
Mhm.
And I think, when I look, because I have been in this profession for a long time, we've always introduced new technology tongue in cheek. Security comes in after. We're always the afterthought. And the same thing with AI.
Mhm.
Um, Before, it wasn't so much of a risk. You could always try and catch up, like, fix development bugs or whatnot, go back and fix those later. But with AI, you can't necessarily do that because it's moving at an exponential rate of speed in development and application and implementation. It's hard for us as risk professionals, security
Mhm.
professionals, to get in front of that train. There's no getting in front of it. So I think even more now, it's important for organizations to understand how is that technology going to be used?
Sure.
Who's going to use it? What is the purpose? What is the data? Most importantly, what is the data that will be processed through this technology? Because everybody thinks it's some magic, entity, AI. It's
Yeah.
not. It's a processing system. It always has been, always will be. It's a processing system. So the same controls that we have for fill in the blank still apply to AI. Who has access to it? Um, what data? What is the reason? What is the anticipated outcome? And that's the tricky one because,
Mhm,
as we all know, especially with autonomous and agentic systems,
mhm.
it's almost unpredictable.
Correct.
So I think we really need to try and understand the use case as much as possible, work with engineering and the business to educate and understand what that is. And what that all equates to is AI governance. We've seen a lot of organizations that have not applied AI governance.
Mhm,
Um, and let's face it, governance is a scary word to a lot of people in business and in engineering. But if I could find another word, that's synonymous to governance, I would use it. But it's just understanding what the system's doing and is it being used as you anticipate it, and is the outcome as you anticipate. If you can answer all three of those questions, good for you, but those are the questions fundamentally we
correct.
need to ask.
Correct. Very well point. I mean, I feel that we are in a AI rush. All the companies, they feel that a lot of opportunities, massive opportunities in front of them, but equally important with the governance. And I like your analogy being in front of the train that may be going with the bullet speed, right? So how they gonna decide to lean into AI for foreseen reason, but as well not
Yeah.
compromising the risk?
Well, don't think there is a choice nowadays. You have to lean into AI. You have to get on that train. However, I think um, until until the organization really fully understands what all of the ancillary parameters or whatnot, in other words, what is the data that's being used? How is it being used? And start thinking as well as AI as an entity. I often refer to AI as being that intern that you bring in. And do you really want to give an intern fresh out of college that barely knows, where, the washroom is? Do you really want to give them the keys to the golden office? So really understand and control until you trust, right?
Mhm,
Understand what that agent or what that AI application is doing, and make sure that you start with perhaps not sensitive or critical information. Start simple, like for example, I use it for creating posters or things like that, so I understand what's going on and how it works. I think not knowing is the danger that we all face. So really taking our time and really understanding, again, that's the critical part. And then, from a practitioner's perspective, staying up to date, read what's going on in regards to security controls and legislation, regulations around the world. You really need to try and stay on top of it. And for that matter, use AI to help gather that information, give you a daily brief. I can say that I have been on that fire hose of learning about AI for over 2 years now, and so I'm kind of new to the game, being 2 years in. But I can say my resources are the Cloud Security Alliance with their AI safety initiative. They're unbelievable, the information that's there. The other one is OWASP, the
mhm,
OWASP Gen AI project. There's many sub projects underneath that, one of which is the AI Exchange. I encourage people to check that out. And then, of course, there's major standards bodies that are providing information, such as here in the US, the National Institutes of Standards and Technology, NIST, as well as ISO, so and IEEE. So, you know, I would encourage people to navigate to where you usually get your information, start
Mhm.
there, and then expand out from there and just keep learning. Try to stay on top of it, and buckle up because the train's moving really, really fast.
Well, that's correct. Well, Candy, I appreciate this lively conversation, sharing your insights. I look forward to maybe talking to you on other occasion on other topics, but I truly appreciate your presence.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Take care.